Yeah, we're going to get into this brand new track from Brandon Clark, and then we're going to talk with Brandon Clark about the new track and some other things as well. Alright? Stay tuned, keep your dial locked. It's the Beat Break. Once again, DJ Roland, where can people follow you at?
Always follow me at DJ Roland on Twitter. You know, we can tweet a little bit. I did find out what we can do, just tweet, not tweet. And also, definitely go to Label DJ Roland Town on Facebook so you can check out things and we can promote things, alright? So, you know, just got a hit a couple days ago that someone wants me to DJ a wedding, so definitely come on out.
Alright, there you go. Alright, Brandon Clark, Saving Myself. Is Saving Myself? Alright,
Saving Myself.
Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, Kobe Bryant, save yourself. Save yourself.
Alright.
It's the Beat Break. Let's go.
Christian, I tell you I'm a true Jew, and I serve the holy ruler. It ain't Muhammad or Buddha, 'cause it's evident when heaven said I heard he sprang from Judah. Who else was crucified? And where are all the true believers? He is holy and sanctified. Yeshua, the Lamb of God. Jesus Christ is my Redeemer. I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Baby, this ain't what you used to. But I'm spiritual. I tell you I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Your conviction, are you following what's written, or relying on opinion? I tell you, I'm a true Jew, because I what the truth is. It ain't how we're no confused. You can call me stranger, I'm my name, just please don't call me Jewish. Tell me who else was crucified, and where are all the true believers? Yeshua, the Lamb of God. Jesus Christ is my Redeemer. I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Maybe they can't tell you I'm a spiritual Jew. I'm a true Jew. I'm a true Jew. I know you do things that I used to do. I tell you I'm a true Jew. I'm a true Jew. Baby, they say I'm a spiritual Jew. I'm a true Jew. I'm a true Jew. I don't do what I used to, but I'm a true Jew. There is a remnant of them that are called, some that are near and many scattered abroad. There is a remnant, Yahweh never erase those that remain by the election of grace. There is a remnant of them that are called, some that are near and many scattered abroad. There is a remnant, Yahweh never erase those that remain by the election of grace. And it's the true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Baby, this ain't what you used to. I'm a spiritual Jew. Are you a true Jew? Are you a true Jew? I don't know about you, but I'm a spiritual Jew. I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Baby, this ain't what you used to. I'm a spiritual Jew. I am a true Jew. I am a true Jew. I don't do what I used to. I am a true Jew.
Yes, yes, and we are back. Beat Break Radio, DJ Roland on 1 and 2.
Going your spiritual way.
Yeah, for the Roman spiritual.
There you go.
We got them in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We have singer Brandon Clark in the studio with us.
How you doing, sir?
Good, good. Thank you so much for coming through.
Absolutely.
And you also brought another special guest in the studio with us this afternoon as well, Pastor Tony Smith.
Good to be here.
Amen, amen. Let me make sure your mic is turned on. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come down to the Beat Break Radio Show, just to let the VoiceCast viewers out there know what we just played. We just played Spiritual Jew,
Yes, sir.
by
Yes,
the
sir.
one and only singer Brandon Clark. And before that, we played Save Myself,
Yes, sir.
also from Brandon Clark. How about that? Now, do you go by a gospel singer, inspirational singer, or doesn't matter?
No, I would say gospel. Yeah,
Gospel?
Sing gospel music, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, so let us know from the beginning your background history and what led up to you becoming a gospel singer.
Okay, well, I would say it was back in probably high school. I really got into writing. You know, singing, I would not do it publicly, really. You know, I would just do it kind of in my room, that kind of thing. But I did a lot of writing, and I kind of started out writing songs that were more geared towards gospel music from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it wasn't until college that I really started to take it a little more serious. And probably my freshman year is when I recorded my first song. You know, started learning the studio, how to operate different things. And
Right.
I went to school to learn audio engineering, and I decided to still use that, to this day. But really, I kind of put music down for a number of years until really I heard Pastor Smith. I heard him preaching, and it just kind of incited something in me again to really want to start singing, start writing again.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, this is kind of what you have now. The music that I do.
Right. And it takes me back to my other roots, because I at one point was a radio DJ for a gospel radio station where I played a lot of independent gospel artists as well as the mainstream gospel artists, from Donnie McClurkin to Mary Mary, Fred Hammond, Hezekiah Walker, Kurt Franklin, everybody that you can name. But what I also appreciated being a gospel radio DJ at the time was that it gave me a platform to showcase up-and-coming gospel artists, such as yourself. And at the same time, these independent gospel artists, they would share with me testimonies about how hard it was for them to break out in this type of industry that may be unappreciated at times. So, how do you go through the obstacles of being in this gospel industry, knowing what you're getting yourself into and everything? Like, how did that motivate you to continue to do gospel music in this industry where gospel can at times be overlooked?
I mean, it's a good question. I think, for me, kind of a key word that you said is motivation. What is my motivation really? And I don't think it is. I don't share the same motivation as many of the names that you may have mentioned. I kind of came up listening to some of those people. If I would be totally honest about it, I don't listen to them now. Those aren't names that I have in my CD player, and it's certainly nothing personal against them. It's just having a different understanding now about what I sing and why I sing. So when it comes down to what I'm motivated for, it's not really about being in the gospel industry per se, or even on the same platform as them. Because that's a crowded stage. It's a lot of people doing what they do, and a lot of people do what I do, just do it better. A lot of people can sing better, write better, but I think if your heart is sincere towards serving the Lord, the first thing that you need to do is get an understanding about what it is that you're singing. And a lot of the songs that I grew up listening to, they were good songs, but lacked understanding. And I know that now. I didn't know that then. So it's changed my motivation to more so get a message out to people that really paints a clear picture in terms of who this man is that everybody is saying that they serve and believe. Because I think a lot of false images have been portrayed about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was able to hear true man of God, proclaiming the word, and they just changed my perspective completely.
Right. Now, you are originally from Newport News, Virginia.
Yes, sir.
That must be like the gospel capital or the
yeah.
gospel state. Because I hear so many artists come out of Virginia that are on that gospel or soulful type of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just coming from that part of the U.S., Virginia, what were some of your major influences?
Well, I mean, a lot of the names that you probably know, who are in the music industry now, there are a lot of people, athletes as well, not just musicians, you know, but a lot of people came out of that city, out of that area, Hampton Roads in general. But as far as my influences are concerned, you know, I don't know if there was anyone that I really looked to and thought, you know, this is someone that I would want to emulate down the line. I kind of, you know, from the beginning, I always kind of just, for whatever reason, not intentionally, just kind of went different directions. You know, I didn't see people doing what I thought, you know, should have been done when it came out to gospel music. And, you know, I just found myself kind of getting to a point where, you know, the more I listen to it, the more I find things in the Bible that just, you know, it would be contrary to what they were singing and what they were doing, and no one ever wanted to address it, you know. And you kind of get tired, because eventually, you know, you end up becoming that same hypocrite, you know, that you see other people being, and it's like, you know, I didn't want to be that person, you know. So can't really say that I had an influence necessarily, other than now, you know, only influence I have is the Word.
Okay. All right, amen to that. And we also see that you brought in your special guest, like I mentioned earlier in the program, Pastor Tony Smith. Pastor Tony Smith in the studio. You have to excuse me, because I went on Facebook earlier today and I put the controversial Pastor Tony Smith. Because I checked out your YouTube video, but I'm going to get into that. Me and Roland, we checked out your YouTube video earlier. And you did. Well, we're going to get into that momentarily, but tell us really quick a little background history about yourself, your ministry, and what your views are.
Well, the Way of God Church is a church that's a little different than the average church, where we really actually kind of make sure we formulate and teach directly from the Word and try to kind of enlighten our people back into the true knowledge of self, something that we kind of lost from the slavery trade, as well as from the people that came along and taught us to become Christians. So we try to come in and try to teach and try to show people a different enlightenment of the Word and show them that it is something that a person can actually do.
Okay. Like I said, you have some strong views that people may not be in agreement with. I mean, that's just how it is. But you know, at the same time, a man of the cloth like yourself, you have a ministry based here in Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about your ministry. Or the name of the ministry.
The name of the ministry is The Way of God Church of the Lord Jesus Incorporated. We use Incorporated because it's not owned by myself. It's a church and it's owned by the members. So we try to make sure it's done that way. Opposed to average ministries, you'll hear when the name, they use the terminology of ministries at the end because it's owned by the pastor. So the people don't really have a part of it. So whatever they do is basically for the pastor and his family, and if anything happens to him and his family, they're going to leave with everything.
Okay. All right. Once again, amen. All right. So tell us, Pastor, when you first heard Brandon Clark sing for the first time, what was your initial reaction?
I was rather surprised. When I first met Brandon, he and his wife moved here from Hawaii. Her just getting out of the military, and they decided to move here to join the church. And at first we didn't even know that Brandon could sing. And eventually we decided, you know, to let us hear him, and we did. We were rather shocked. I myself was rather shocked and surprised. I think he has a good voice and definitely a very talented young man. A very serious young man about what it is he believes and really dedicates himself toward that. You know, I was really shocked, kind of surprised. Sounded a little bit like Michael Jackson to me. When Mike died, I figured maybe
when he was with Jackson 5, I guess.
Yeah, but definitely talented. You know, I heard it definitely right off. You can hear that he's a talented person, and very serious about his music. He puts a lot into it and wants to live the life that goes with it. I know a lot of gospel performers all say the same thing, but you know, when the mics are put down and the lights off, you can find me in a bar, in the strip joint, smoking a cigarette or smoking crack. So, you know, I appreciate the lifestyle that he lives as well as what he says.
Okay, all right. For those who are just tuning in, we are talking to gospel singer Brandon Clark, as well as Pastor Tony Smith, that took time out of their busy schedule to visit us here at the GSTV studios for the Beat Break radio show. And of course, you got a big fan base, Brandon, because we got people that's logging on, same as you, Mr. Smith, and we got people on here just want to ask you questions about your ministry, about your views, and your music career as well. So I want to encourage people to log on to voicecast.com, sign up and register for free. Like I said, folks, we're still trying to get 50 plus or more people to log on to voicecast.com so we can blow this thing up. And you can also ask singer Brandon Clark and Pastor Tony Smith any questions that you may have, or you can also share your comments with us as well. If you don't mind, I want to go to the voicecast.com chat room real quick and just share some of the comments or questions that people may want to ask you and Mr. Clark as well. So we're going to go over to voicecast.com real quick and see what the people have to say. And let's go over to 5349. Once again, folks, let us know your name and where you are hitting us up from. And this person asks, how does he keep his hair so tight? I think this person is talking to... I think that question belongs to Brandon Clark. How do you keep your hair so tight?
I'm pretty sure it was directed at Pastor Smith. I will answer.
I'll let Brandon know.
I may want to know who asked that question. I cut my own hair. Learned a long time ago,
wow.
And I think I was raised to always groom yourself, keep yourself groomed up, so I learned how to cut my own hair. So I wouldn't have to pay somebody else to do it.
I know, $20. I got to get a haircut, so,
You need a cut?
Yeah, I need a cut. Less than $20.
Yeah, exactly. It's expensive, but I cut my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And how, if you don't mind me, but
spray on. I just do spray on and keep moving.
That's it, okay.
Oh,
all right, that's what I'm talking about.
Man.
All right, let me go back over to the chat room real quick and see what else. Okay, what was, this person asked 5686, what was the inspiration for the Spiritual Jews song? What was the inspiration for that song that we just played?
Well, very, very simple. At the Way of God Church, we are taught and we understand and believe that we are the true Jews. Typically speaking, as a lot of the gospel names that you mentioned, it's very common you hear people call themselves Christians. This is obviously the majority of what people say is the religion in America. But, we fully understand, that in order to really be saved, you have to be a spiritual Jew. It's not just according to the flesh, but when it comes down to being a Jew, Christ himself was a Jew, and we understand, where he came from, his lineage, and also just learning the nature of who we are, how we got here as a people of color. I thought it was important to make it clear. There's a song we sing in our church called The True Jews. We always sing that song. It's a beautiful song. It's kind of, one that we enjoy together, but I hope to make a song to put it out maybe on a different platform for other people to hear. And, I intentionally entitled it Spiritual Jew so that people would kind of understand, it's not just about being an outward, according to the outward appearance. It's about what's in your heart, it's what's on the inside. So, inspiration behind that song, again, is just the word and, having a teacher who taught, and it was rightly divided.
Okay. All right. But there your answer right there. Let me go back to the chat room real quick. I feel like one of the personalities on 106 in Park having to go up to that big screen right there and push the little Facebook, Twitter thing. Let's go over to 8584. They don't want to tell me their names. What's going on?
Yes, please put your name out there.
Okay. This question is for either you, Brandon, or for you, Pastor. This question from 8584 asks, what makes gospel music secular these days, and how do you keep from joining in trying to fit in with them? And that kind of leads into what our topic is going to be in just a couple of moments. So if one of you all want to answer that.
Yeah, from a musical perspective, the topic that when you mentioned it to me, you were like, has gospel music gone secular? And I thought it was a great question. I thought it was an incomplete question. Really, why has gospel music gone secular? Because it is. The question is not whether or not it is. It's why has it happened? And it's very simple. It's just our leadership. The leaders that we have out here who claim to be preachers and different things, they don't teach people the truth. And it's unfortunate, but it's certainly not just gospel music. There are a lot of aspects of our culture that have totally strayed away from God, and it really goes right back to the people who are in the pulpits, week in and week out, teaching people messages that don't line up with the Word.
Okay. Wow, DJ Roland, he just soaking all this in.
Yeah, because I have my own perspective, and everyone has their own perspective, but the thing about it is everyone says basically the same thing. It's like by saying, what is the truth?
Mhm.
And people are very confused on what the truth is. Everyone has says, this is how the truth is, and they'll show it to you. Then someone else is going to say, this is how the truth is, and they'll show it to you. So the thing about it is, what people need to understand is, make sure you understand the truth within yourself. You know, by knowing what has been portrayed, what has been known on in the Bible through the verses. So there's so many Bible verses out there. People don't know which one to follow. By me attending a Catholic school when I got my degree from, and I learned a lot from my Catholic tradition class. I learned a lot, and I keep it in mind, but I have my own perspective because I listen basically to what my grandmother taught me, and that's just go back to old school. Whatever your grandmother teaches you, you want to follow that, especially if she's very spiritually guided. So my thing is this: if you know that he lived, he was here, he died for our sins, that's the basics. And people have their own personal thing, like, why did he do what he did? And they don't understand why he did what he did. So that's the thing of people not understanding the truth. That's just my opinion.
All right, there you go. Once again, folks, we have gospel singer, Brandon Clark and Pastor Tony Smith in the studio with us. If you don't mind, we're going to take a brief commercial break from the Beat Break Radio Show, and people are asking about spiritual Jews already, so we're going to replay that song as an encore, and we're going to go ahead and go a little bit more deeper into the topics at hand. Once again, folks, the topics that we are going to be discussing later on in the program, we're going to continue to talk about gospel and the secular world. Has gospel gone secular? And apparently, singer Brandon Clark, he believes it has gone secular. And, you know, we want to get your comments as well. And we're going to also talk about the state of the black church as well, because I have a perspective on the modern day black church as well. And I know you all have your perspective. DJ Roland has his perspective, and everybody that's on voicecast.com got their own perspective of the black church as well. All right, so we got, before we go into a commercial break, we got time for one more comment or question that we are going to share to our guest in the studio, gospel singer Brandon Clark and Pastor Tony Smith in the studio. And let's go over to 1874. Okay, I guess this person is making a comment with a question, and 1874 says, I guess a bit off subject, but for T. Smith, that's a nice name right there, T. Smith, Pastor Tony Smith there. People often criticize your preaching a woman hater rhetoric or a woman hating rhetoric. How do you respond to those critics?
I appreciate those critics. A lot of times your critics are your biggest fans. You know, I come with a no-nonsense approach versus the traditional what we've been taught, even with kind of listening to what the DJ was saying. With all due respect to him, I kind of totally disagree with kind of statements kind of made. A lot of times we look at our grandparents and what they've learned and what they've been taught. It's been basically slave teaching. And that slave teaching has done a lot of damage for us. When we say that Jesus came to die for our sin, which I totally agree for, if I took you to the restaurant, I picked your ticket up and I paid for it, that don't mean you keep ordering on the menu. That means you're done. So when he paid for our sins, he didn't pay for it, that we can continue to commit sin. And we tend to keep passing on that same kind of bad mentality as a people because of our slave because of the slave mind and because of the encroachment we take on. Everything we've been indoctrinated with has been from our slave masters. So hearing somebody come along and teaching us a right way with the right book, rightly divided, makes a major difference. Of course people don't criticize me. I'm saying something that people don't want to hear, telling you there's no excuse for you to sit around and commit sin today. But nobody else is saying that. So it's going to make me look rhetoric, hatred, woman haters. I teach a woman her position is to be submissive to the man. Time has not changed that. The word still remains the same. But people want to do what they want to do, and you want to go contrary to the word. Of course, you'll adopt a different type of understanding or feel about the word, but it does not change.
Okay, we got to talk about that YouTube video. So you think I forgot? I haven't forgot about that. So we're gonna talk about that and more. Stay tuned. Keep it down locked. It's the Beat Break right here on voicecast.com. Follow me at Sean Garvey on Facebook and on Twitter. And are you up on social media? Facebook,
Yeah, Breathe Life Productions. That's our company. You can actually follow us on Twitter, Breathe Life Pros, and also on Facebook. Just type in Breathe Life Productions.
All right. And Pastor Smith, are you up on Facebook and Twitter?
Yes, you can go to thewayofgodchurch.com and Pastor Smith at Pastor Smith Twitter. I'm on Twitter as well. But thewayofgodchurch.com, you can watch us live.
All right, there you go. Stay tuned. More of the Beat Break coming up right here on voicecast.com and Beat Break Radio FM.
Don't move from us. We got more of the Beat Break coming up right after this.
The Beat Break is sponsored in part by Dark Knight Entertainment. Watch DKETV weeknights on GSTVonline.org and People TV. Comcast Channel 24.
From the old school to the new school.
Down, I'm so young money. If you got eyes, look at me now.
From the past to the present. New classics can be heard on the Beat Break. Your host Sean Garvey and online at Beat Break Radio.
For that one complete.
Hey there. Why you sit down?
I'm so stressed out. I'm behind on my mortgage and my home is up for foreclosure. I don't know what me and my kids are going to do or where we're going to live.
Hey, as you know, we're in a housing crisis where families are going through unable to pay their mortgage. Well, I'm telling you now, foreclosure is not an option. Facing financial crisis, you're not alone.
The mod team helped me get out of foreclosure status. They provided me with information and tips to get caught up with my mortgage payments, and they made sure I never go into foreclosure status ever again. About a month later, I kept my beautiful home, and I'm happier than ever.
Wow.
Absolutely. You got nothing to lose. The modification team has programs specifically designed to help families keep their homes. If you or someone you know is in this situation, have a trustee sale date, or if you have to go through bankruptcy to get out of foreclosure status, please call the modification team. 1-866-936-5260. 1-866-936-5260.
Ali Williams, Alan Pitt, Anthony Donaldson, Anitra, Sharif, Tia Shay, co-starring Jimmy G, featuring executive producer, director, and writer Curtis Kamal, and executive producer, director, and chief editor Pino Lowe. Special guest Michael Gardner, Deion Hunter, the host of the Beat Break Radio Show, Sean Garvey, and special guest R&B singer Ron Anthony, and the rock artist from the hit song Scrub the Ground, Sean Kid Money Shabba. Don't you miss it.
Yeah, I was taking out the trash. I think I see a dead body.
That's crazy, man.
Get your copy of Big D. Visit www.cnteentertainment.com and click on the store or visit www.amazon.com and search CNT Entertainment Good Deed Movie.
Riding Dirty Radio brings you turned up Tuesdays at the 50-yard line during the hottest open mic showcase hosted by comedian Max and DJ Goldmaker. Artists who want to hear music heard come down to the 50-yard line this Tuesday for a chance to win great prizes and more. Show begins at 11 p.m. Free admission must be 21 and under. For more info, call or text 770-912-7249. See you there.
The city of Atlanta has been identified as a hub for human trafficking right here in the United States. We must protect our children, so let's take a stand and make a statement and bring awareness to this epidemic by way of a dynamic theatrical production We affectionately call Rimshot. The production will benefit Arts for Life, a 501c3 non-profit organization dedicated to the empowerment of youth and bringing awareness to human trafficking. Support Rimshot by electing to become a contributing sponsor, volunteer, or guest in support of the initiatives developed by Arts for Life and People. Visit the website for additional details. www.rimshotproductions.com. Again, www.rimshotproductions.com.
Of course, they Twitter my thoughts. You will follow the group everywhere they go. Follow them on twitter.com/BeatBreakRadio.
This is Ava Shay. Be sure to follow Beat Break Radio on Facebook. Like us at Beat Break Radio and become a friend at Beat Break Radio on Facebook.
Yeah, you good. I think it's just down.
I'm not a Christian. I tell you I'm a true Jew, and I serve the holy ruler. If Abraham or Buddha, 'cause it's evident when heaven said, I heard he sprang from Judah. And where are all the true believers? He's holy and sanctified. Yeshua, the Lamb of God. Jesus Christ is my Redeemer. I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Baby, this ain't watching you. Just that I'm a spiritual. I tell you I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. I don't do nothing like you. Just that I'm a spiritual. I tell you I'm a true Jew. I'm a true Jew. Are you listening? What is your conviction? Are you following what's written or relying on opinion? I tell you I'm a true Jew. I'll find out what the truth is. It ain't going on confusion. You can call me stranger. I'm my name. Just please don't call me Jewish. Tell me who else was crucified. And where are all the true believers? He's holy and sanctified. Yeshua, the Lamb of God. Jesus Christ is my Redeemer. I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Maybe this ain't you know. I'm a spiritual Jew. I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. I don't do things. I don't use to tell you I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Baby, this ain't you. I'm a spiritual. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. I don't do what I used to. I'm a true Jew. There is a remnant of them that are called, some that are near and many scattered abroad. There is a remnant God will never erase, those that remain by the election of grace. There is a remnant of them that are called, some that are near and many scattered abroad. There is a remnant God will never erase, those that remain by the election of grace. And it's the true Jew. Tell you I'm a true Jew. Baby, this ain't what you used to. I'm a spiritual. Are you a true Jew? Are you a true Jew? I don't know about you, but I'm a spiritual Jew. I'm a true
Oh, wow. Lord, that's the fair
Stole it. What I did.
I see this question. I see a question. We going back now and say that.
Oh, good.
All right.
Say that.
And we are back. Beat Break Radio, Twitter.com at Beat Break Radio, Facebook.com at Beat Break Radio. It's going down, Atlanta's underground hip hop and R&B station, but we are keeping it grown and spiritual for the grown and spiritual people out there. We have singer Brandon, gospel singer. I keep forgetting to say gospel singer.
It's all right.
Brandon Clark, and we also have Pastor Tony Smith in the studio with us. If you are just now joining with us, we are going to get even more in depth with some of the topics that we are going to throw out there to you all, for you all to answer, and for Pastor Tony Smith and gospel singer Brandon Clark to answer. But we want to go over back to voicecast.com, because that's where everybody is at right now. It's almost like a party in the chat room, because we got so many people logging in on voicecast.com because they want to see you. They want to see you all.
Want to read your
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and do it. See, you got me doing all the work.
Yeah, rolling around. Let me go ahead and say this. Okay, first of all, Brandon Clark, he has a question about, excuse me, he wants to know, who are some of your gospel influences?
Yeah. we pretty much just answered that question.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think we did address it. I mean, in case that person didn't hear it, I don't listen to a lot of gospel artists out here. Nothing personal against any of them. But as far as musical influences and that kind of thing, I mean, I was brought up listening to a lot of old music. My parents, whatever they would play, I was listening to it. You know, they listened to canned spirituals, a lot of old school music, you know, that I came up on. But to be quite honest with you, I don't think that it influences my sound to this day.
Okay. All right, and this is for you, Mr. Patrick Smith, anonymous 5593. Please put y'all names out there. We can give y'all a shout out, give y'all a spiritual shout out. How about that? Okay. All right, Mr. Patrick Smith. This person says, how do you know when you're definitely, without a doubt, saved and will go to heaven?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I think that comes with being under the right teaching, properly understanding what it means to be saved. A lot of people use it as a statement, but it's actually a lifestyle that a person has. And even with that, according to the Apostle Paul stated in Galatians, the 2nd chapter, and about the 14th verse, he talked about how while we seek to be justified, but we ourselves also found sinners that they make Christ the ministers of sin. When he was addressed by Apostle, he was addressing Apostle Peter. So with the word and what we hear and how we illustrate in our life is a definite to understand of knowing, but then we still wait for him to come back to vindicate us all. So that's the true part of the salvation that we wait for. Right now what we do is actually by faith, if we follow accordingly. And all the guidelines, all the specs and codes have been set for us as in the prerequisites of being saved, and once he come back, then it's validated that we are truly saved, and we have to go back with him.
All right. Oh, y'all heard?
There you go. All
right, and another question from 2313. How does a straightforward, no-nonsense gospel attract so many young congregants and drinkers? I don't know if I'm saying that word correctly.
I guess besides the threats that I sent out to them.
Whoa.
I think for a lot of young people, they're kind of tired of the traditional, the way of preachers, kind of everything's theatrics. With me, is no nonsense. I'm just straight down the middle with people. I look at, where I started at was in the pews, and I had a lot of reverence for the pulpit and for the man that said he was a man of God. And I was a believer that the man of God did not commit sin. This man truly heard from God, and he truly walked according to the word. When I was enlightened that this was all theatrics act, they'll curse once they get out of the pulpit, they'll lie, they'll drink, they'll fornicate, they'll commit adultery. I was blown away. And I looked at somebody say something about it. And when you would ask another pastor about it, everybody you would ask would say, well, I don't know, I'm asking, I'm curious, is it supposed to be like that? And they would say, well, I don't want to talk about it, man. I'm not going to get involved with that. I don't know where he's at with God, so I won't say. And it just kind of left me in a dilemma of, was I wrong for asking? Were they wrong? And should I just be quiet? And, eventually, the Lord blessed me to get in ministry and take on the conviction of living, a clean, separated life and be an example to the people and tell the people the truth without the theatrics. I don't have the best broken English, but people know when I speak from my heart. I know when people are hurting because I was hurt, because I'm a believer. I always was. Even when I was going wrong, I just felt I knew what I needed to do. I wasn't doing it, but if I kept my eyes on the man of God, I believe I would eventually reach that pinnacle of where I need to be. And to find all this was a game and act in me, I was crushed. So when you hear me preach and the way I come out at things, it's because a lot of people, as with Brandon, our keyboard players, where a lot of these people, they see behind the scenes with these people. The cursing, the drinking, the lying, that people don't see from being around, and they really get thrown and just say, everybody's the same. So when people hear me say something about it, it's different, and a lot of times they won't change.
Okay, so I have to ask you, which segue into the whole YouTube video thing that me and DJ Roland saw. And for those that don't know, there was a YouTube video that came out, I don't know how long it was, but you was being interviewed by a woman. I can't think of what her name was, but you was being interviewed, what's her name? Lexi, right. And she interviewed you regarding a couple of questions on your views, and there was one question or one comment that she made towards you about women in weaves. And from my understanding, you don't approve of women wearing weaves. And then the whole woman beating issue and all. So if you could just shed some light on those two views or those two things that people are scratching their heads right now because they want to
especially the ladies right now. I know.
Yeah, because we got a lot of.
That's something that's very, very touchy, especially in the salon going on.
With women putting the weave and different things in the hair, if people are Bible believers, I mean, it's scriptural based. When you look at 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9, when he talked about in like manner also that women adorn themselves with modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broad hair. A lot of things as well as women plaiting their hair. For our people in our culture, it's traditional plaiting and braiding our hair, but the Lord took that away from us, from Israel, who we originally descended from. We take on the terminology of African Americans, and I don't even have an afro, so I guess that would eliminate it. Everything we've taken on these subtitles have been given to us by our oppressor. And I try to teach and enlighten our people. America is not our home. We're victims of America. There's no way that the so-called Negro can have a dream in America. This is a nightmare. I still don't have equal rights. I still don't have a right to vote when the highest seat in the land being held by a man of my same color. And he can't even say things about issues that affect people that look like him or even his daughter. When his wife was threatened by the police, when she went to the police and told him how a man threatened to kill her, if you're familiar, you can look it up, DJ, and she told the police officer, he pulled a picture on his phone and told her he would shoot her himself. And our own president can't even address these issues. So we have to get our people back to getting an identity. We don't have one. We'll copy the Mexicans, we'll copy the Puerto Ricans, we'll copy the Asians from their medicine to their restaurants, we'll copy the Indians, everybody. We don't have an identity. So when I come along, I'm telling them, why is it we've been taught that our hair is so bad that we have to culturally go and follow everybody else and have to be oppressed by them? We have to get back some self-preservation, and no one's giving us that. Our black women have lost soundness of who they are. Every other race basically mimicked them. The white women, now they went to get the breast implant, Botox in the behind. When they told our black women their breasts were too big and their behinds were too big, they told them their lips were too fat, and we found they're getting Botox in their lips. No one's telling them self-preservation, take pride in who you are, but when you don't know who you are, then you're going to continue to mimic everything that's wrong.
If we only have women in here right now, DJ Roland, it would be very, very heated. But it's up to the women, of course. So let's go back to the chat room and see if somebody has something to say about that in response to Pastor Tony Smith's comment.
As of right now, there's no comment on that really, but big shout out to Amber from North Carolina. Thank you for checking on in, 2664, thank you for checking on in. And she says, don't approve weeds. Okay, like I said, I kind of figured it was going to be a little controversy with that. But Brandon, we have a question for you, 5686. Says, when will you be releasing your album? Are you have any plans for your album to be released anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on some music behind the scenes, you know, and Lord willing, you know, I'd like to put something out by the end of 2013. But, you know, it's in the works right now, and if you know, just kind of stay connected to me on Twitter and Facebook, you know, be updating people as time goes on.
I have a question for you. I know you're a solo artist in the gospel singer, and I was wondering, are you part of a choir or anything? Is there a choir coming out with an album that you're affiliated with or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I do sing with a group of brothers and sisters from the church with Breathe Life Productions, and we put an album out called Lost Without Your Love. So if you go to breathelifeproductions.org, you can check out that album right there. And we sing in our choir at the church. We're not, you know, put music out and sell it and all that through the church. But we definitely sing praises to the Most High, you know, every Sabbath day. You know, we come together and generally speaking, you know, Pastor had a choir come up, we'll do a few songs. But in terms of putting a CD out for people to buy it and that kind of stuff, that's not something that's been on the radar for the choir.
All right, there you go. Gospel singer Brandon Clark and Pastor Tony Smith in the studio with us. Now, going back to the question, has gospel gone secular? And one of the reasons why I posed that question was because I happened to watch TV one day, and we all know that the biggest phenomenon on television nowadays is reality shows. Everybody got their reality shows, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, you know, everybody and their mama got a reality show. But now, I'm hearing shows about preachers' daughters. I'm hearing shows about, you know, Mary doing their own reality shows, and also other shows like The Shears. That is a new reality show where it details the life of Kiki Sheard, or Kiara Sheard, and her brother, and they are trying to expand their audience by switching from gospel to a little bit more secular, not too mainstream, but just enough to where they can captivate all audiences through their music. And I only saw one episode of that show 2 nights ago, and I was done. I was like, you know, T.I. and Tiny, their show is more wholesome than the Shears, to be honest with you. You know, and I've seen T.I. and Tiny a couple of times, like, you know, they like the modern day black version of Full House. And the Shears, it's kind of like watching Real Housewives of Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. You know what I mean? So how do you all feel about people that you've seen in the ministry and in gospel music, and, you know, they going out and they doing the exact same thing that mainstream media are doing? How do you all feel about that?
Well, I guess I'll speak briefly on it. I haven't seen the program that you mentioned with the Shears. I know about the one with Preacher's Daughters. I've seen the commercial for it. I haven't watched it. But
and also, by the way, the mother, of course, who's also in the show, is Karen Clark Sheard,
right?
A famous gospel singer. So she is the mother to daughter Kiara Sheard. So
yeah, I mean, you mentioned the name. Very familiar with the singers, you know. But honestly, in my mind, they're doing what I would expect them to do. You know, it's no surprise, just in terms of the lifestyle that they live. You know, what it is that they're going after. You know, it's not about being saved. You know, you deal with people who, if you had a conversation with them, they would tell you they're saved. You know, no doubt about it, filled with the Holy Ghost. But you know, your lifestyle is contrary. You know, that's just really the bottom line. And I think the only sad part about it is probably a lot of young people who have sincere hearts who probably look to them as examples. You know, because there are very few examples out here. So if you come out and you say that you're doing it for Christ, or you're doing what you do for the Lord, you might have some people who will attach to you and think that what you're doing is sincere, you know, but it'll just be a matter of time before some will realize, like you did, just watching it one time, and you knew, like, you know what, this is something I'm interested in watching.
And just to add on to that, while I was watching the show, I'm thinking about the whole history behind gospel and what I was taught. You know, gospel music was supposed to be about delivering the good news of the gospel and to encourage and uplift people that are going through struggles. But watching that show, it's like, you know, nowadays it seems like gospel artists are now just more about trying to increase their audiences and make money, as opposed to empowering people or what their main purpose is for. So, you know, I think it's like they say they don't want to conform. And I go by that whole biblical saying, be not conformed, but it's like they already doing that slowly but surely. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I'll just say this briefly, and I would love to hear Pastor's thoughts on this particular topic. But one thing that I noticed a long time ago was that it started to appear very clear to me that people who said that they were doing what they were doing for the Lord, they're doing gospel music, they were following the world. The trends of the world, you know, clothing, everything, you know, from the way that you look to the way that you sound. You know, this would help you increase your audience if you do it the way that the mainstream does it. And that's just only gotten more and more over time, to be quite honest with you. So like you said, being conformed, it's just a matter of time. It'll show itself more and more. But I think you give it enough time, sure enough, a lot of these people, you know, I would venture to say that a lot of them will stop doing gospel altogether, you know, because people are not buying it. You know, a lot of people are not really buying into it, but for so long. I think it's just a matter of time before, you know, they show themselves. But Pat, I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah, what is the Pastor Smith take on it? And we're going to go to the voice cast in just a couple of moments, but what is your take on all of that?
Well, me myself, I don't watch any of the reality TV shows, especially now when you find so many of these so-called quote-unquote gospel singers that have, you know, tried to call themselves, I guess, on the fence, you know, trying to draw the people. I've been successful in drawing young people without going out to them with conforming to their behavior and their ways. I don't put on cut-off shorts and drop my drawers out of my pants and put on a hip-hop shirt and pull them. You know, I can dress myself accordingly. I can just speak with understanding to let people hear the truth that want to be saved and want to make a transformation. It's Kiki Shields or Kiki Puppet, whoever these people are. I saw on the show, and y'all had they behind with households in Atlanta, they need a strap put to their back. Every one of these people, they're disgraceful before God. The mere fact that our people are the major people that wind up mimicking what they see as a disgrace before God. They ought to be incarcerated, every one of them. We need more positive influences for our people. You know, whites have been successful in, even though covering up their meth use and everything else, they will get a positive show to try to show their kids something that they can kind of mimic and follow, even if the home isn't this way. Blacks have found themselves in thinking that we can show people our sicknesses in our homes and not realize it's going to affect our kids and others that are viewing us. Yes, we have dysfunctional homes just like the Mexicans and everybody else, but somebody needs to stand up and show them that there's a better way. So I'm an advocate for all these weed-wearing, prostitute whores from Housewife, Atlanta, children, pimp, whatever they are, being whipped, flogged, and the parents incarcerated. Thank you very much.
All right, that's public service announcement from Pastor Tony Smith. All right, let's go to the voice cast and see what.
All I gotta say is y'all have a lot of saves out there. Right. They got a lot of activity going on. I mean, man, they were like agreeing basically by saying if a place is sold out, they basically sold out for the Lord. That's what they said, saying right there. Just like some of your followers are definitely with you on there. And that's okay. I hear you. My thing is this, me personally. Okay, it's a two-way street on this. You for the Lord, but why you worrying about, you want to get people to come out. Okay, my thing is this. No one from the entertainment side has buy some venues across the country. So they can own it. So if people can't afford it, but they definitely want to hear you, they can still come. That's my view on that. Because if you so into like, okay, they're in St. Louis, they're in Seattle, they're in LA, of course, or here in Atlanta, or here in New York, or in Florida. Why don't y'all have some venues that the like certain churches own or something, And I say portion of the money gets there is to the churches for that area, so they can do community things. And another portion helps them out for the traveling, because they know they got to leave their families and, you know, get on airplanes and all that type of stuff. No one's doing things like that, of like what the money is actually putting out in the community. I don't hear anything like that, and I definitely wish they do that. Not just even gospel artists, regular artists. Why can't y'all say, you know, doing an event, what is the money going to besides in y'all pockets? Saying like, yeah, I'm on video and showing money and all that stuff. Why are they not showing stuff that help the community and stuff? That's why you only see a few people. Ludacris, every year he does his little thing, you know, when kids go back to school by doing his thing. Right. And T.I., he knows his mistakes. He's trying to get on that realm right now. He's trying, just taking a slow process. Okay, but that's what I want to see is people, artists, putting out more instead of putting it in their pockets. That's just my view on that.
All right, and it segues into, because we only got a few minutes left, it segues into another question I want to ask to our listening audience and to you all as well. What is the actual state of the modern day black church? And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't go to church, to be honest, and it's because of past experiences I've had with different churches. It's not just one particular church, but just with other churches that I visited. And after visiting these churches, I just really couldn't get into it. I couldn't really become a better, I found out that I could become a better person outside of church than inside the church walls, because of who I'm around or just my way of thinking. You know, I wasn't just really getting nothing out of going to the church. It would be the same old preaching about money, preaching about prosperity, you know, oh, I'm going to get my bills paid, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you are an American citizen, you're going to always have bills to pay until the day you die, you know, so bills are not going to go away. But, you know, and then kind of piggyback on what DJ Rowland said, the money. It seems like the money is going into the churches and people pay their tithes, their offerings and stuff, but is the money going back into the community? I understand that portions of it have to go towards the upkeep of the church to keep the lights on and stuff, but I shouldn't have to be seeing a pastor looking like Steve Harvey every other Sunday when I go to church. Or you know, why does the pastor have to have 3, 4, 5 different cars in his driveway? I have a problem with that. So I want to get you, Brandon, and you, Pastor, your take on that, because I feel like I'm one of the few people that feel that way.
Well, I mean, I'll be brief, but as someone who kind of shares some of your views, you know, in the past, I definitely felt the same. You know, it became very discouraging to try to go to church, to kind of force myself to get up and go, because just the things that I would see, you know, the things that I would experience, and you know, every one of these congregations, you know, it's just made up of people, you know, and those people are following somebody, whoever's coming up and delivering the word, and, you know, they're putting their hope, they're hanging their hope on these words that they're being taught, you know, and for me, I was tired of it as well, you know, I was just like, you know, I'm kind of tired of hearing the same old stuff, you know, and I look in the Bible, and I'm just like, you know, why are these things not being addressed? You know, there's so much more in here than just money, just, you know, growing your church, getting more people and all that kind of, it's just so much more to it. And, you know, for me, I got to the point where, you know, I set out to find the truth, you know, and I know DJ mentioned earlier, like, you know, kind of the truth is within yourself. You know, I've always kind of been a firm believer that there's only one way, you know, and if my heart was really earnest and sincere about what I wanted to believe and follow, the Lord would show it to me, you know, and sure enough, you know, He did. You know, I was able to see it and hear it, practical. You know, it's not deep. It's not a lot of fluff about it, and, you know, just it's all about the appearance and that kind of thing. You know, but it was just a very straightforward message that was, for me, the Lord opened my ear up to be able to hear it. You know, and not everybody can receive like what Pastor preaches, and it's just simply because not everyone is ordained to hear it. To be quite honest with you, you know, and I just thank the Lord for touching my heart to be able to receive it. But the church is in disarray, you know, well, not the church, the these false churches out here. You know, there is no church out here other than the body of Christ. And you know, if you're gonna be a part of it, you gotta be baptized into it. You know, and you have to believe and obey what you're taught. And it can only come from a true man of God. You know, and it's not me worshiping and serving pastor, you know, in any kind of way. It's a matter of recognizing that what the Lord has given this man to teach is the truth, whether you like it or not, you know. And I just thank the Lord that I like it. You know?
All right. Now, Pastor, what is your take in on all that, too? Because, once again, going to the YouTube videos that we see you ministering and preaching in, you even called some pastors out. Even Bishop Eddie Long, you said he needs to be arrested.
Yeah, I think I said beat. I was locked up.
Oh, okay. So what do you think about the state of the modern black church nowadays?
The problem is on a couple of issues, and I listen to what you were saying, about not surrounding yourself with the church and kind of getting yourself out of it. One thing becomes a problem with people with money. You tend to surround yourself with other people with money simply because they're on the same road path of what you're trying to do. I think part of your you kind of let down with the so-called, you know, quote-unquote churches. I use the terminology chicken at the end of it. They do better with chicken at the end. It's not church. But when
church is chicken, right?
Church is chicken, that's all it is. So basically, when you surround yourself around people that you know you see in the street doing the same thing you do, you're with a lot of people here, as well as with the preacher, that there's no conviction. In order for there to be a conversion, there's got to be a conviction. It's got to come from somebody that's taking a stance. The issue of, I heard when you were using the money issue, even DJ was saying like people putting money back in the community. We're a church that's based upon, we put our money back into our people. Just like the American country, you were saying like American citizen, there's rights that's inalienable to you under the Constitution, which I don't believe in, but it's so important to us. And those rights go to you and you alone. The only way another person can take on the adoption of those rights is to become a citizen, quote unquote, of the United States. Then when you say put something back in the community, you got to first start with the people first in the church. You look at the IRS, they take their money out of your account. You're a single man, not married, right. So you're paying about 28 to 33% taxes. The Most High God has asked for 10%. I look at this, if the man of God is doing what he's supposed to do, everything else is going to be according. I think a lot of people used to cop out of what the pastors have. You'll never see a video where I condemn them on what they have, and they have way more than I'll ever get or achieve. I don't have a problem with them or the singers or what they get. It's the lifestyle you use and the method you use in order to achieve it. If a person works hard and they have a gift, and I think they ought to be paid for what it is that they do, but at the same time, you got to stay around and you got to know how to come back and give of yourself, most of all. It's not about money. Our people don't need money. We're the largest spenders yet, we're the least earners. That's not our issue if people call it the money. The issue is self-preservation. Where is the example? There aren't any. And when a young black man like myself, quote unquote, but I'm a Jew, they call me black because I'm a color, but I'm actually pecan tan, so here's another stereotype of them programmed. Black is a darker color than we are. But anyway, we've got to step back and we got to teach and get our people back to start self-preservation, getting our spirituality back, quit copying these slave masters, quit copying the oppressor, because we're going to continue to fall in their hole.
All right, let's go over to the voice cast chat.
Man, all I gotta say is they're going at it. They're going at it, listening to us, they're going at it with themselves.
Brandon does that every time he's on there.
Oh man, it's like 2563. I mean, I wish y'all put y'all names out here because I'm like trying to follow
They don't
y'all.
want to be identified because they're afraid Pastor Tony Smith might look for them.
But they basically piggybacking on what we're saying and everything, and it's really not really no question. They just going, they having a nice conversation, listening to us and looking at voicecast.com. That y'all can really tune in and looking at this very enticing show. It's very good. I really It's something that needs to be heard, and we all have views on it, but it still needs to be heard so if people can understand back to what I was saying in the beginning, the truth, understanding what the truth is. That's all that's what we're talking about. One person said 8584, but you can follow slave master religion and it is okay. How is it okay?
What?
Tell us.
You can follow. Whoa. We may need another hour for this one.
Yeah. Why is it someone speaks the truth and makes the sin that he is the devil? That's the same person, 8584, okay.
I'm still stuck on what that person asked.
85, okay, this is what she said. Or this person, I don't know if it's he or she. basically 858 Story said, plain and simple, gospel music should sound different from secular. And why is it when someone speaks the truth and makes sense, he is the devil? But you can follow slave master religion and it is okay?
Oh, okay. I get what that person is. Okay.
All right. Sorry, everybody. But what's your name out there? Give you a shout out. And back to Amber, you know, I still see you doing your thing. Yes, you can love chicken and go to church, okay? Yeah.
I'm going to church. I'm going to churches. Like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Bring me back a 2-piece. Okay, so, all right. So really quick, because we are almost out of time. What do you have to say to people out there that's watching us on voicecast.com? You know, the people that think that the churches nowadays are just a fashion show. It's just a place where people are just going to go out there and look for a date or somebody to go on a date with. You know, it's a seminar, this, that, and the other. What do you have to say to those people out there that think that way about the modern-day black churches?
Okay, well, I'll go first. I'd love for Pastor to get the final word on that.
Yes, please.
Personally, I mean, no, I would just say, one, to address the one comment that was made, kind of the woman-hating rhetoric that some people kind of, I guess that's what some people hear on the surface. But, I mean, I would just say to that specific issue, you know, myself and Pastor, we're both married men. You know, we have wives, we have children.
I noticed that y'all not wearing, I mean, I don't want to put y'all out there like that, but y'all not wearing any wedding rings, though. Y'all married, but y'all not wearing any rings. Y'all just don't.
I mean, that's a slave, man. He taught us that a ring, you know, you can pick up more women and have more sex with a wedding ring than you can without it. If it's not in your heart, the ring ain't gonna stop.
Wow. Yeah. Let's see, we may need another hour, DJ. I'm just saying. Y'all want to repeat that one more time?
Yeah, I mean, you know, my wife does not wear a ring, you know.
Really?
Not at all.
Y'all wives don't wear rings?
Not at all.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something.
I guess it's bigger to people. I mean, to me, it's not even something I think about until y'all just mentioned it, to be quite honest. But I mean, the Bible speaks specifically about women wearing jewelry and different things. So I mean, my wife does not wear it. I mean, it would not be a sin necessarily for pastor or myself, but as men to have on some kind of jewelry, you know, a ring or what. But it's, you know, it's not profitable, to be quite honest. You know, it's not something that is not lawful to do as a man, but it's not expedient for us to do. And you know, I know I kind of have always looked at that. If my wife is going to take this jewelry off and not do it, it only makes sense for me to, as her head, you know, as her leader, to do the same and set that example.
Wow. I mean, y'all got to be like the first two gentlemen that I've ever met in my life that are married but not wearing any rings at all. You know.
Well, I've met others who do it.
I've met others too. I mean, they just don't say it and pronounce it out as the way y'all doing it, because I mean, like someone said, what was that? 8584 said, where's a wearing a wedding ring in the Bible? I have not saw it yet, which y'all just said. So I'm like,
wow. Y'all are real. This is why I love Beat Break Radio. I mean, I'm now that makes me kind of cautious of going up to a woman and asking her out, not knowing if she's married. You know, because I could go to a woman and be like, hey, so you know, you want to go out for a cup of tea or something? Do you see that I'm married? Do you see this ring? I'm like, what ring? You know. So
yeah, it's probably gonna be few and far between. You know, to be quite honest, most women out here do wear jewelry. That's something that a lot of women really hold to. But you know, certainly not anything that would make a person be faithful. That's for sure. You know, that needs to be in your heart. But you know, I did want to just briefly address that issue, because I think a lot of people get the wrong perception about, you know, this doctrine of dominating women and hating women. And you know, it's just certainly not the case. You couldn't hate anybody and be saved, you know, that's for sure. Certainly, as husbands, you know, we couldn't hate our wives. You know, that would put us in a position where we hate our wives and daughters. You know, that's kind of insane. But that's certainly not the case. And in terms of, you know, just as an overview, you know, I think if people would kind of take time to put their own thoughts aside, a lot of things you've been taught, a lot of things that have been ingrained in you for so long, you know, and just look at it for yourself. You know, look at what's written. You know, I would encourage people, you know, listen to this man preach, you know, because if you hear it and you can read it and follow along and you see it's there, you can do one of two things. You can fight it, you know, or you can accept it.
Okay. And so, people out there that's listening and watching us on voicecast.com, to get the rest from you, Pastor Tony Smith, to hear what more you have to say pertaining to different issues going on in personal life. I don't know if you touch on politics while you're in the church. You got to talk on that, like...
that one. I don't know if I would talk about politics. I touch on politics, religion, and what has to happen actually for our people is, I think the way that I kind of address things, I break it down to what people can actually understand it. When you hear places like Gabatha, Nineveh, these are none of the places we live at. It's not practical. So when we hear these things from the Bible, we have to sit down and find out where's our correlation, where's our relationship at. We have a connection to the book as more than any other race or nationality does, but none of these so-called Negro preachers come to address it or try to, or even to bring it into some type of conformity for the people to even try to come into a realization of who they are. Everybody uses propaganda. When you say like which way people should go, you have to sit down and ask yourself, based upon propaganda, whether it's the truth or a lie, what fits where you're trying to go. If you're trying to get to Augusta, Georgia, it's only practical. You got to take I-20 west. It's only practical. It makes no sense to get on 85 north. It makes no sense to get on I-20 going east. You're going to make a mess. Well, I'm sorry. It does east, not west. It makes no difference. It makes no sense to go a different avenue. So now we got to look at what's the right way, and the only way to do it is to sit down. Let's look at what the book says. Let's stop jumping, skipping, running, making excuses for what doesn't fit. That was in the old time. Everything in the Bible was in the old time. We got to see how does it fit us today to get us where we got to go. Everybody themselves know for themselves that there are some things that are lacking. It's are you willing to address it to make the proper change in order to get to where you got to be.
All right. Okay, well that pretty much sums it up right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And so with that being said, Brandon Clark, go ahead and give our viewers your contact information where people can download your music or find out more about how they can go about getting your music.
Absolutely. You can go to breathelifeproductions.org, or you can just simply Google Breathe Life Productions. But you can check us out on Facebook, Breathe Life Productions LLC, and also on Twitter at Breathe Life Pros. Continue to get updates about some new music that's going to come out a little in the future, so just stay connected.
All right, and Pastor Tony Smith, I know you probably got some new members. You probably might see some new members Friday, Sunday.
Saturday for us.
Yeah. Oh, it's Saturday.
Saturday. We actually follow the book, demanded everybody so they follow Jesus with the church on Saturday, according to Luke 4:16, but we just kind of follow Catholicism and everyone's doctrine that the slave master, I don't call it the slave master because the slave master controls what you do, just like they do here in America. They just do it subliminally. We just don't actually pay attention. I come to awake the so-called Negro from his nightmare. But you can always follow us. You can watch us live 3 times a week at www.thewayofgodchurch.com. That is thewayofgodchurch.com. You can follow me, Pastor Smith, at Twitter. Somebody said I had a YouTube video. I think I have one YouTube video that possibly might be out that you might be able to see. But
Lexi?
That's what it is. They got plenty of them, but I appreciate the people. Also, don't follow Eddie Long, Creflo Dollar, TDJ, Juanita Bynum, Get Drunk, Get Beat by Knuckle Dragon, what's this white one with the short hair they got? All the Cheat White with Benny Henning, and the other Knuckle Dragon, K Woman, Joyce Meyer. All of them, forget them, wipe them off, count them like toilet, mess, flush them, get rid of them. Watch them.
That's why I said I love the beat break, man. I love the beat break because we're not politically incorrect on this show. You know, we're not one-sided. We want to be able to have conversations with people that have different views on things and not scared to go on mass media and express how you feel, because we get thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners and viewers tuning into the beat break.
So people watching us now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice activity going on here.
Yeah, this is bigger than Ustream. You know, this is the beat break. So that's what it is. I appreciate you all for coming by the studio.
Absolutely, I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, sharing this music with us and all that good stuff. Boy, and let me just let people know, Pastor Tony Smith, he's calm right now, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all seen the videos, see, I already got people blowing video. If If y'all seen the videos with Pastor Tony Smith, he gets down. He's calm right now, but he gets down. So, yeah. Ooh.
I was going to ask you, you know now, Brandon also sings acapella without music. He sounds just like his music.
I bet.
Without, all the...
Sound like Boots.
Yeah.
Care to share? Can I do a little something to take us out of here?
Okay. What's the song you play for? Save Myself?
Save Myself.
Thinking back on days of old, I was just a young boy watching mama pray for daddy's soul. I asked, is Jesus coming back for us? 'Cause he wasn't coming fast enough. No, I tried following the preacher, hoping I could walk like a servant when I stood like a leader. I kept it bottled up inside, held on to my pride. Seemed like time was on my side.
Wow.
Come on,
wow.
Man, that's awesome.
I see some women coming in. They like,
okay.
what is going on in Cheryl? Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. See, that's what I said. A lot of great singers are independent and are even in the gospel world of music. So,
absolutely.
Amen. Hey, amen to that. Amen. Amen. So once again, I want to thank you all, singer Brendan Clark in the building and Pastor Tony Smith. We gotta have you all in the building next time. Maybe we have maybe women in here in the studio. I was supposed to have a female gospel artist come in to chime in on the conversation, but she couldn't make it. So maybe next time,
Maybe let's go to bed. Yeah, we would be happy to come back. Yeah, appreciate it.
I hope she wasn't driving and she was listening.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. All right, so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we usually end our show at 3 p.m., but we went a little bit over because we just had so much to say. We wanted to give, Pastor Tony Smith and Brendan Clark ample time to really get some things off their chest. Apparently, Brendan got a lot off his chest, as you can see. So,
I got a lot.
So we really appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's edition of the Beat Break Radio Show. Guess who is going to be stopping by next week? DJ Rowland.
Well, I have no idea. How about AC and Rich Love?
No.
Okay.
No. Unfortunately, we got to get them back in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no. But nah, the Twice Twins.
Really?
Like.
Oh.
No. Brian K. Marshall from Passkey Entertainment. He's going to be stopping by along with his guests to talk about their upcoming appearance at the now postponed Sweet Auburn Festival going down May 18th next weekend.
Yes.
We're going to talk to them. They're going to be in the building next week.
All right.
And then the following week, we're going to bring back Black Santa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he got some new music that he would like to share with us.
All right.
Okay. Radio. All right, really quick, got a couple of announcements. Don't forget, folks, Moya, Men of Intelligence Association, Each One, Teach One, Reach One, is going down Saturday, August 24th at Sumner Park in East Point, Georgia. Keep your dial out to Beat Break Radio throughout the entire summer between now and August 24th for more details and information on this upcoming event. And I was told that it's going to be better than ever. Let's hope so.
Well, we're going to be all good.
I'm just messing with y'all, but it's going down East One, Teach One, Reach One, Saturday, August 24th at Sumner Park in East Point, Georgia. Keep your dial out to Beat Break Radio FM and the Beat Break for more details, alright? And to catch past archive shows of the Beat Break, you can always log on to voicecast.com and go to the video category, and if you miss any of today's program, you can click on beatbreakradio.com in the video section and look for today's date. It's going to be 2 videos, so make sure you click on those 2 videos to check out the show and to check out Brandon Clark as well as Pastor Tony Smith. And you can also check out past archive shows of the Beat Break on GSTV and GSTVonline.org every other hour, so make sure you go to GSTVonline.org and check local listings for dates and times. And also, really quick, got to give shout out to all the GSTV students that helped us out. Shout out to Devontae Avaloy, our new general manager Andrew Mixon, our program director, Warren Turner, and everybody else that helped contributed to the show as well. And let's see, what else? Did I forget anything, DJ Bone? What you got coming up this weekend?
How about it's Mother's Day weekend?
Yeah.
Shout out to all the mothers and
Shout out
y'all
to
wives and everything. Shout out to them. To make sure y'all have a great and blessful Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
And all that. So take them out, treat them right. Kids, do y'all thing and treat your moms right.
All right, and yeah, that's what it is. So happy Mother's Day. Just want to let you all know that this show has been sponsored in part by Dark Knight Entertainment. Make sure you check out Dark Knight Entertainment each and every hour on GSTV and GSTVonline.org. And you can also check Dark Knight Entertainment out on People TV, Comcast Channel 24, and on peopletv.org. And also this show has been sponsored in part by the modification team. If you or someone you know is facing foreclosure status and is in need of financial help, make sure you call the modification team today and let them know that the Beat Break sent you. The telephone number is 1-866-936-5260. Once again, the telephone number is 1-866-936-5260. Make sure to follow me, Sean Garvey, on Facebook and on Twitter, Beat Break Radio, and at Sean Garvey on Facebook. And DJ Roland, once again, where can people follow you at?
Always follow me at DJ Roland on Twitter and David DJ Roland Townsend on Facebook, so you can check out some things and maybe I can do an event for y'all and stuff, all right?
All right.
And big shout out to the Voice Cast viewers. Y'all get hands up for real. Y'all had the thing going on.
How many viewers we got now?
Well, it went down, but the highest we got up to was 29.
29, well, close to 30. But I know we got a lot more people that logged into voicecast.com but weren't able to get inside.
Yeah, because we probably had technical problems, but definitely it was a good number because there was a nice conversation going on, listening to us and going back and forth themselves, want to know the truth, which is a good thing.
Right, absolutely. And for those that have been asking, next week's show, yes, we are bringing back the bedroom hour. Okay, we wanted to be gospel friendly today, but we're bringing back the bedroom hour next week. So.
But not this long, no.
DJ Roland got to get up out of here. We got to get up out of here. Tune in again to voicecast.com. Shout out to Cameron Harrison. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Oh, also one other thing, too, before I forget. 7490 Old National Highway is going down. Open Mic Showcase Turn Up Tuesdays with DJ Goldfinger and Matt Boosie and Ron and Dirty Radio, VXL, and Miss Linda. If you want to be in the place, make sure you go out to the 50-yard line tonight down the street from where Holyfield used to live at, on the south side. So make sure, if you want to get exposed and get your music heard, make sure you go out to the 50-yard line tonight, 7490 Old National Highway in College Park, Georgia. And the telephone number for more information is 678-549-6988, 770-912-7249. Until then, we are out of here. Take care. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. We out. Peace.